Hi, my name is Jim Andre. I'm an alien abductee and contactee and founder of the Alien Connection Truth Network. And I've got some guests on with me tonight. We've got Jonni, Lynn, Francis, Catherine, Nichols, and Jim Mike McFarland. And since they've connected with me with friends on Facebook, they've had some incidents that have occurred that they'd like to relate to. And we're going to start out with Catherine. Catherine, you can tell your story.
Hi, I'm Catherine Nichols. I had the fortunate experience to have a healing with Jim Andre and Jonni Lynn Francis. My first fortunate experience came about as a result of a chronic lung infection called Mycobacterium avium. It's a pulmonary mycobacterium lung infection. It's from a strain of bacteria that are closely related to tuberculosis, but are much harder to kill. In this infection, you have to start out with a series of 4 antibiotics that you have to take daily for at least 18 months. And if after 18 months, you're either cured of the infection or you still have the infection. Many times people still have the infection. And in this disease, a lot of times people have lobectomies where the infection has located itself most prominently. In this disease, 25%, at least 25% to 40% of people after 5 years have a 5-year mortality rate. Some people it's incurable and they steadily progress with it. I had a series of nodules on my right and my left lungs. And I was told, you have a lot of problems. And I developed pneumonia in the hospital. And that's where they found all the nodules popping up. They were called tree and bud nodules, which are closely related to the disease I had. So they were a sign that this disease was progressing. I also had one nodule that had been present there for 3 years. Jonni and Jim made it their thing to get rid of these nodules and to help heal my lungs. And they both worked on me. And Jim even broke into a sweat one day, and he showed me the steam and the sweat coming off of the materials he used. And Jonni worked very hard to get rid of those nodules. And I was told by both of them to let me know of the results of the next CAT scan that I had in my lungs. And they do serial CAT scans every 6 months of my lungs. The next CAT scan I had, every single nodule had disappeared, including the nodule that was there for 3 years. Thank you both. That was my first awakening experience as to the healing powers Jonni Lynn Francis and Jim Andre working side by side together to help heal me. My next experience, I spent 3 days in the hospital because of a back injury that left me to the point where I could not urinate and I could not hardly lift my left leg. It was so weak and painful. After that experience, I developed some heart problems. Chest pain, palpitations, my heart felt like it was getting weaker, and I was getting short of breath with slight exertion. And I only had mild emphysema, so nothing would explain that. I was told many times to go see my heart doctor because my last echocardiogram showed pulmonary hypertension, a progressive disease that affects the heart It's usually idiopathic. Sometimes the cause is known, but many times the cause is unknown. And it eventually leads to congestive heart failure at an early stage, and it's progressive. It doesn't just go away. I also had left ventricular hypertrophy, which means that the walls of the left ventricle thicken and become not elastic enough to pump effectively. So then the blood starts to back up, it back into your lungs, and you're prone for heart failure. Well, that was my last echocardiogram, and I was told many times to go see my heart doctor, but I was already seeing a pulmonary doctor. So I eventually went to see my heart doctor, which was just recently. And when Jim and Jonni were healing my left leg and my back, I was holding my phone. They were both using shungite stones, which have the ability to move things, which have so much energy in them, they can move things. Let me explain to you what I saw during this healing. First of all, the first thing I saw with my vision, I'm also psychic and clairvoyant. I saw a gray-white alien with big bulbous eyes right off the bat. I'm like, Jim, you didn't invite your friends, did you? Well, apparently there was something to that dimension present. And during the healing, I kept on seeing the presence of two hands with light coming from them, light energy coming from them. And in the middle of the healing, I saw again another alien. And I held the phone up to my chest because I knew my heart was in jeopardy at that point. Because I had already went to the emergency room twice with 2 heart-related incidences and palpitations so bad that during a blood pressure reading, my heart would beat twice, skip a few beats, beat 3 times, skip a couple beats, beat, beat. And it did that several times. And my blood pressure would not go down. I kept on having headaches with high blood pressure. And so things like that were happening. And I had gotten another echocardiogram done in the meantime. Right now I'm doing much better. Well, let me go back to where I was holding the phone while they were doing the healing against my chest. I could feel the energy from their healing go through the speaker in my chest, and I could feel my heart reacting to it, reacting to the energy. Anyway, so I go back and I do another echocardiogram at the doctor's office a year later. No left ventricular hypertrophy. The thickness of the ventricle's walls, the ventricle of the heart changed shape, and hypertrophy and thickness and fibrosis disappeared. Elasticity returned to my heart. There was no evidence of pulmonary hypertension on the echocardiogram. And my back is feeling much better, even though it's tender if you touch it, but it's feeling much better. Okay. Jonni came back after her phone stopped charging during the healing. She came back and she says, boy, that was strange. I felt like a little gray alien, 5th dimensional creature sat next to me or came next to me. And then I felt this energy coming from my hands throughout the healing. And that's exactly what I saw. I want to tell you that with these healings, that I've never seen anything or experienced anything like this before. But before I go, I want to tell you about the experiences I've had. I have scars on both of my hips. And me and Johnny Lynn Francis have gone to the beach before, and she has seen them. There are scars on both of my hips. They are not stretch marks. I noticed them when I was 20 years old, and I had never been fat. And they are scars. I went missing when I was 3 years old for 4 to 5 hours. I was found by my railroad tracks, probably between 2 and 3 miles from my house. I was dazed and confused. My dog was still with me, but I was off by myself, and I don't know what happened. I have no memory of it, but I remember visitations of a creature I called a polka-dotted monster, maybe because of the eyes, and visitations late at night when everybody in the house was sleeping, but only my own visitations on and off through the years of about 3 to 5 or 6. And the last visitation was a warm visitation, and I was no longer scared of this creature. And the communication was that he had to leave me now because I was getting too old. And that's the truth. And if you want to know about the Alien Truth Network, what I'm telling you is the truth.
Well, thank you, Kathy.
So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Kathy, for that. I appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to, any input from you, Jonni?
I would just like to say that I am a second degree or Reiki 2 practitioner, and I'm working on my master. And I've been healing on my own. And then when Jim and I started working together, the energy, the connection that Jim and I have to get the energy, it's potent, strong, and very focused. And it's very awesome. When we were working on Kathy, I did have a small gray, sitting beside me. And I was holding out my hand, and then I felt the white, hot energy just go. And I was holding my shungite with my other hand, and I don't know, but I think Jim's shungite and mine communicate somehow and make it stronger for me. And when we were working on Kathy, it's just, I knew there was also another alien, a gray, and I wasn't afraid. Normally, I think I get a little weird about them visiting, but it's like there were two there. One was kind of supervising, I think, and the other sat beside me and helped with the force of the healing. Now we ganged up on Catherine and Jim Mike McFarland. We were working on both of them. And I saw 5 portals. And I knew that one was Catherine, one was Jim, one was Jim Mike McFarland, one was Jim Andre, but I didn't know what the 5th one was. And come to find out that Becky was at Jim Mike McFarland's house, and she had a really bad headache, and it went away as we were doing it also. So that was the 5 people involved in that healing. And I've never experienced anything like that before. Jim and I have also worked on another fellow, but I didn't have the aliens with me at that point. This was the time they were with me. And it was awesome. That's all I can say about it. And I feel truly and grateful and honored to be able to do that kind of healing. And I am so grateful to Jim Andre for his help, for his giving me the opportunity to help him with other people. And I'm just really grateful. So I think that's all I got.
I thank you for that, Jonni. And for those that aren't familiar with my story, I'm an alien abductee and contactee. I got abducted in the fall of 2013. That particular night, I was on the computer like I usually am. And at that time, I wasn't retired yet. I was working as a constable and a bus driver, and I have to get up during the week at 3 a.m. to work for the bus company. And I remember distinctly that it was on a Wednesday night, and I was sitting at the computer, and I glanced over at the lower right-hand corner of the computer monitor to see what time it was, thinking that I had to get up, at 3 in the morning to go to work. And the last thing I remember that night was seeing what time it was, which was 9:15 p.m. And the next thing I knew, I was waking up, still in the same chair in front of the computer, looking around in a daze, wondering where I was at. I looked over at the alarm clock, and it said 2:57 a.m. So as I'm sitting there trying to wake up, gather my thoughts, I felt an intense burning sensation on my right forearm. And I know this sounds bizarre, and I don't expect anybody to believe it. It's hard for me to believe. I looked down at my forearm, and there's a tattoo of an alien gray that depicts an alien gray. And when I seen that at that point, I was beside myself, unsure whether I was dreaming or what was going on. But this is the tattoo right here. And since that abduction, my abilities to do energetic healing have tremendously increased. And people that I've been fortunate enough to meet which my abduction was what prompted me to start the Alien Connection Truth Network. Since then, people I've met through there, such as Jonni and Catherine and Jim Mike McFarland and others, we've connected, and they can attest to the healings that we've performed, and the aliens actually help us out with those healings.
Jim, if I could just jump in again.
Sure.
When I first met you, Jim Andre, you were still living in Massachusetts, and we were just talking, and you said, "What do I have a thyroid problem?" And yes, I do.
Right.
I have what's called Hashimoto's thyroiditis. All that means is I've got nodules in my thyroid, and they on ultrasound they were 3 centimeters or more in both on both sides. Now I just went, I guess, in February. So this has been a while since we had done the sessions on that when Jim worked on me. And in my ultrasound, I just went to my doctor last week, and she was reading me the results. And she says, "Oh my gosh, it's gone." And I don't remember which side she said, but on one side, a 3 centimeter nodule in my thyroid is gone. And I just wanted to say that because that's pretty awesome.
That's a good thing.
And
yeah.
I owe it all to Jim. So
Can I jump?
it
Sure.
works. Whatever he does, it works.
Yes, it does. I would like to just jump in one moment and
And
say,
that's it.
that my psychic abilities, I believe, to be a result of my abduction. I see things and that are spot on for people. I've done this for a while now. I've surprised people, I've shocked people, and I believe it was all part of my alien abduction. I believe that this is all part of the 5th dimension, or whatever dimension the aliens are coming from, and it's part of their abilities, and I believe they transfer some of those abilities to us when they work with us. And I just like to say, if anyone's ever interested in healing, you know how to locate Jim. But remember, if you're ever interested in a psychic reading or anything like that, me and Jonni will have a site called Angel Illumination Services. It's a page. And also we have a group called the Medium and Psychic Journey of Light. Feel free to contact us. I do psychic life coaching. I've shocked people. I put people in awe. I've seen spirit Indians coming out of people that have no Indian in them whatsoever. Anglo-Saxon people, and there was a fantastic explanation for it, and I put closure to I've helped people put closure to things, and Jonni's done some amazing healing too, and Jim and Jonni make a great team, and of course Jim is on the site, the Alien Truth Network, and he's always available to do healings. And that's all I have to say.
Tell them,
Yeah, if anybody wants to do any,
Catherine,
Yes.
I want you to tell what you saw about Jim's tattoo.
Oh, Jim was doing a healing on me one day, and I did a little reading on him. And I said, Jim, why do I see an astronaut? He said, oh, you didn't know about what the Photoshop guy saw underneath all the layers of my tattoo? I never told you about that? I said, no, you never did. He said he went through all the layers of my tattoo and saw an astronaut. That's just a minimal example of what I can do.
Yeah, like Kathy was saying, if anybody needs any healing or anything or is interested, just private message me on the group page, the Alien Connection Truth Network. All right, so I guess we'll wrap this up for now. Have a good night.